we're here at Hennepin Church celebrating 150 years. Holy cow! I can hardly believe it. I remember when we celebrated 100. So one of the things that stands out for me is this plaque that I have in my living room that says, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, and all the times that you can, to all the people that you can, as long as ever you can." It's so called the John Wesley Rule, and it has been really part of my life forever.
Well, when I first came to this church 36 years ago and learned this, and I made that a model for my life.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Well, you know, Outreach at Hennepin Church has had this as a motto as well. Hennepin Church has done so many outreach projects, and as a matter of fact, we could not get all of the projects in this video. It would have been probably a 4-hour-long video. We do that.
Yes, I know, and I've been involved in a few of the many outreach programs, and it's really fulfilled my life to be able to be involved in that. You know, it's when you do something that's good, you feel good about it.
Yeah.
And that's what this church, Hennepin Avenue, has given to me, is opportunities to service and to feel good about it.
Yeah, ditto for me.
Yeah.
I've been involved in outreach of one kind or another ever since I was in my middle 20s until now.
That was just a few years ago, right?
Right.
Yeah, we know. Well, I think the first thing we'd like to talk about in terms of our outreach is the Dignity Center. That's been around for what?
20 years.
20 years. Oh, and you had a great deal to do with that, didn't you?
That's right. I did. I was not the first director. I was the second director. Dennis Oglesby started the Dignity Center, but I developed it. Who saw the need of Native Americans who were coming to the church parking lot and wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
And so we thought they needed a place to come in and get out of the cold and have something to eat.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about next.
Well, good. That's close to my heart. As you know, I was very involved right from the beginning. When you tasked me with different projects, building things that were needed, screens, this kind of thing, which was right up my alley. I love to build things, and you gave me things to build. And the Dignity Center was a thing that was being built, and outreach.
Right, it really was.
Yeah.
The first clip that we're going to see is about the volunteer coordinator, the current volunteer coordinator, who's going to talk about what's happening now. And then the second one,
we're going to introduce a success story. Why she is successful. I'm so looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
The Dignity Center is a place where people living in homelessness and poverty can come and talk with an advocate and make plans and goals to get back to self-sufficiency. I have been working at the Dignity Center off and on for about 15 years. I was working in the office when the Dignity Center was down in the education wing. The Dignity Center was hooked up to a lot of the county social services and city social services, and everybody worked together, and they were given bus tokens. If they had an appointment, they were given bus tokens so that they could make the appointment. There also was a voucher system with the steeple people so they could get interview clothes, and which was very helpful. We feel it's very important to welcome the people as they come into the Dignity Center. They sign their name and mark their name if they want to talk to someone. We make them feel welcome, ask if they had been here before, and the room is filled with laughter, and there's people are sharing their experiences and helping others to know where to go to get this and that. I have a group of women each day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's at least one other person that comes and helps me in the kitchen, and we keep the goodies on the table, and we have a little kind of basic needs store that people can come and get a bar of soap or toothpaste or
towels, beddings, a lot of different supplies, shower caps, denture cleaners, which either people donate or we go to the dollar store or different places to get supplies.
After working with an advocate over a period of time, and many of their needs are met medically or when housing-wise or job-wise, then when they finally do get their own apartment, we celebrate that event, and we do have as extra things, kind of a starter kit for them to jingle their keys for the camera and take dish soap and towels and a set of dishes, and so this is their kit that they would take home after getting their own place. One of the success stories that we'd like to share is about a woman who had been homeless for a good part of her life. She had 4 children, was living in a car. But she always said, "I always had a job. I always would get up and go get a job." She had some substance abuse problems, but she always would get to a job. And so she came to the Dignity Center and worked with a woman that was just wonderful with people that came in. She took all the classes and courses about how she could get back her dignity, and she took everything that was offered. And she now works at Central Lutheran. She has an apartment, she has a car, and she's working very, very hard to sustain her life at this point.
When I started coming here to the Dignity Center, I got signed up with an advocate. It started with me trying to set goals for myself and trying to get from one point to the next. She was very, very helpful. As I was coming here to see my advocate, then I started getting involved with other things that was going on here, such as like Street Voices, The Change, and all that. I got involved with things like that. Then I started volunteer over at the church in the kitchen. So I started washing dishes, and Patrick was one of the chefs over there. And as I kept going to volunteer, and next thing I know, I got hired right on the spot. People would come, we would serve, the lunch would come over, people would sit there, eat, then we'd come downstairs to the meeting. From there, things really started taking off for me because my life started to change because I had to get on the bus because I didn't own no car at the time. And I was coming here constantly, about every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so then at that point, then I started, meeting for practice at Central with Street Song. And Street Song means a lot to me because Street Song is a choir for people who experience homelessness. And when I go there, I have so much on my mind, and I go in there and sing. It just seemed like I just let all that go. And I come out, really happy, excited, ready to just get to the next level. I was also a part of Alliance, and the way the Lions were fit in with me is because I was part of Street Voices of Change, and I'm also was part of Envision. And what it is, they have people come in and talk about different things. So, like I said, it's a congregation where people from different churches would come and talk about different agenda. And my next step was, like I said, they have different little groups things going on, and I just get involved. I started going to the Capitol, speaking on the Hill, which I end up speaking on the payday lending. I done that, and then also I got nominated for Dorothy Richardson Award. I had received that, and doing all this is just that this is my way of giving back, and also giving people that's like me or who experience homelessness hope that if I can do it, you can do it, and then I would just let them know that I'm here if you need to talk about anything, because that was another challenge. The Dignity Center had helped me in so many ways. It helped me to have faith in myself. It made me a lot stronger. And my hope was there. Because at first I didn't have no hope because I didn't think I was going to get anywhere. But the Dignity Center, this place means a lot to me. I speak a lot about it. Even when I'm at Central, I tell people on Monday, which is community meals. I tell people over there to come over here, and some of the people that comes over here, they you can ask them. I told them about it.
Wow, that was an amazing story.
Yeah,
And
right.
Sherry is an amazing woman. And the thing is, there are many, many more stories like that. She's not the only one.
It sure is.
Yep.
But you know what? It takes lots of volunteers to make that happen, especially advocates. The church I know, or the Dignity Center, is in need of more advocates, as well as people who do greeting or who do office work or purchasing, stuff like that. You know, I think we should move on and see another one of our programs.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, and
What this is?
it's about the women. It's called
it is
Women of Faith now. It used to be called United Methodist Women, and they have always been the backbones of outreach.
Absolutely.
Through the years, many women weren't working back in the 40s and 50s, and so they got a chance to spend lots of time
Yeah.
doing good deeds.
Yeah, so men were off making a living, making war, those kinds of things. And Methodist women were here doing outreach, just like what we're going to hear about.
Yeah, exactly. So now let's see some women who are really involved.
I like that.
We are a national organization, and we're just one chapter of it here.
Yes, we are. And the women here have been very active in projects, helping primarily women and children and youth, healthcare, schools, shelters.
And those were a lot of those things we're talking about are things that were done on a national scale. And we had our opportunities to contribute to them through our pledges, our regular pledges. And thank offering was something also that was monetary support.
Yeah.
And then we did things locally too. But those were more involved as far as local projects.
Yes, our thank offering from the congregation is very important in what we do and what we can accomplish.
I don't know if you know or not, but I was president at the time. You're president now, but I was president at the time that we transitioned from the names of WSCS, we and Society of Christian Service and Wesleyan Service Guild, we transitioned to United Methodist Women. And of course, now there's one more transition.
Yes.
And calling us United Women of Faith. I was nationally, maybe the transition had happened a little earlier. It was 1972 that Hennepin made its transition.
we've had the opportunity here in the Twin Cities to know about and visit and provide service and support to national mission.
That's Emma Norton Services you're talking about.
That is Emma Norton Services, and they've been in existence since 1917.
Okay.
And as I recall, the reason for being at the time was that there were young women coming to work in the Twin Cities who didn't have a place to live. And so that provided housing for these young women.
Our involvement, besides contributions in terms of money, we spent a fair amount of time over there in various projects. We did painting in some of the bedrooms. We did, that major overhaul in the lounge.
Carpeting, drapes, furniture. Now, Emma Norton Services is building a new building, and it's called Restoring Waters. The current focus is women, some with children, who are homeless and or unhoused. I like that term better. And have mental illness and or addictions. So, of course, they help deal with that.
And then there's some follow-up, I think, afterwards, usually.
There is follow-ups. And there are other services that help them learn job skills and learn how to handle money once they are working, because they may not have had that opportunity before.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the other projects we've been involved in. There have been a lot of one-shot deals, which is sometimes a good way to get people involved, people that don't want to make long commitments.
Right. One of my favorite projects that we've worked with for many years is support of Joyce Preschool.
We sometimes went there and volunteered with the kids maybe for one afternoon and did whatever the teachers or the assistants wanted us to do. So we participated. And we actually involved the whole church sometimes.
Yes.
And school supply. Yeah, school supply materials. Yeah.
Another important way that we have in helping others is a fund named after a former member, Jane E. Balch.
Can't forget that one.
No, and that
ongoing and has been for many years.
Yes. Their awards are generally up to $2,000.
Those are significant amounts of money, and that's all possible because of the bequest.
Yes.
That we made years and years ago.
Many years ago.
And the principal is earning us interest right now.
We're looking to start a gathering of younger women who will need to come at night because they're working daytimes. And perhaps it won't meet monthly. Perhaps it will meet quarterly.
Or online.
Or online, yes. And so I look forward to that.
David, you heard all these things that United Methodist Women did, but there's one other program women have been involved in called Naughty Quilters.
Oh, just how naughty were these quilters?
Oh, they were naughty sometimes. No. They just did really great stuff.
They did. They made a scarf for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see.
The Naughty Quilters is a group that's been ongoing at Hennepin Avenue United Church for at least 25 years. We were an outgrowth of a women's group who did repairs of fabric items in the church. A few of the women decided to make a quilt. They each took a patch and
did whatever they wanted with that patch. And then it was put together and was hung at our retreat center over the stairs. And the group went on from there. And we make quilts, we make teddy bears, and most of them are donated out into the community. The church sponsors some refugee families that come into the country, and often they need blankets. And so our quilts go to those people, and maybe some of our teddies if the children would need those. We donate our quilts to groups like the Veterans Administration, to the visiting nurses. We have made quilts for hospitals. We make special quilts for people who've lost loved ones and wants memory quilts. A young couple who showed up at the church and had been burned out the night before. They had a young child. We donated a baby quilt to them, and then the pastorate took it from there in terms of finding whatever services we could provide for them. We are a volunteer group. All of the people who work on our quilts volunteer their time or put together some things here at the church, but we also work at home. We are an outreach. Twice a year we do have a sale of works because we need money to buy batting and to buy the large backs. We get some donated fabric, but they're never big enough. We are primarily a group that wants to comfort people who are in need.
Another important outreach program was the Old School, which was formerly known as Steeple People. Right. This was a thrift store, which people could donate items. We had a lot of volunteers that worked on refurbishing items so they could be resold.
You refurbish items.
I did some of that, yes.
Me too. I worked there probably about 5 years.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I did was make a connection between Old School and the Dignity Center.
Very important.
Oh my gosh, yes. Dignity Center clients could get vouchers for getting interview clothes for jobs.
That was important.
Yeah.
Very important, yeah. And I know I fixed a lot of furniture.
Yeah. Well, let's look at it. Okay.
Oh, sounds good.
In 1979, 6 members of Hennepin Avenue United Methodist Church started a little store with the idea that it would be kind of an ongoing garage sale. And the purpose was to generate funds for outreach for Hennepin Church. We were originally located on Franklin Avenue in 1979. And the name of the store was something like the Hennepin Avenue United Methodist Church Committee on Social Concerns, and that was a bit of a mouthful, so it got truncated to Steeple People Surplus Store. And then we went around the block onto Franklin and Lyndale and stayed there for a very long time. We changed our name to Steeple People Thrift Store because people were getting confused with the idea of military surplus, and we said, no, we are not military surplus. And we remained at Franklin and Lyndale for a number of years, serving that community and with a big, vibrant volunteer community, donor community, and shopper community. And in about 2016, 2017, our building was sold, and the idea was that they were going to build a very large condominium complex. And the board of the store at that time searched high and low for another space to move into. And it looked like hope was lost. And a woman named Julia Curran called me. Julia's very elderly father loved our store, and Julia would walk him miles every day, and they would stop in at Steeple People Thrift Store, chat with everyone there. Everyone knew her dad and loved her dad. And she called me and said, the store cannot die. It's too important to the neighborhood. It's too important to the community. And it was too important to her personally. And so a group of us got together and said, well, can we give this a go? Can we make it go again? And Jim Stevenson was on the board of the store at that time. And I think he never lost hope because he retained this idea of a space at 19th and Nicollet Avenue. And so we put together a business plan, and Jim kind of brokered a little deal here at 19th and Nicollet, and we were able to move in about 2018. We love this space. That's an old car dealership. It has a fabulous feel, very industrial feel, but is still warm and very community-oriented. We love this space. We have a very active group of volunteers here. We always welcome new volunteers. It's a fabulous community, very flexible. We have a number of store regulars who come in every single day to visit with us. They know everybody. We know them by name. We know what they like. Oh, hi, we have a special supply of antique cameras today that you should be sure to check out. So we perform a good function in this neighborhood.
Our store runs entirely on donations, and we're blessed to have our customers, neighbors, as well as church members drop off donations, and we process those with volunteers and 2 full-time staff people and run the store 5 days a week from 11 to 6 o'clock. We have a wonderful community. Some people come in every single day, and others come in every so often, but it's always good to see their faces and find out what finds they can see at Old School. When the closed donations come in, they get put here, and we sort them out on a table by price. We put the price bins over on one dolly, and when volunteers come in, they can price the clothes. They don't have to think about how much they are. They just need to look at the size and put the price on them. When they're done with that, they put them on another dolly so we know they're priced and ready to go out on the floor when we have enough hangers and space to put the merchandise. For hard goods, when they come in, we clean them up as best we can. We sort them out by what it is, price them, and then get them put out on the shelves. And usually when we get a lot put out, we have a really good sales day the next day. So keep all those donations coming in.
The next program that we're going to talk about is Community Meals.
Community Meals is a wonderful outreach in that it invites those who need a meal on Sundays to stop by our church and get fed.
Have you've been involved with it, right?
I have done some about. I washed many a dish.
So you're the super duper dishwasher.
Well,
Yeah, you've done it all.
all right.
Okay.
But it was fun. It was fun to be involved.
It's a good community activity, isn't it? Okay, let's watch it.
Well, I guess the whole thing started probably mid to late 80s. You think about 88?
1988.
And there was, that was sort of the beginning of the homelessness crisis. And there was a perceived need in Minneapolis that no one could get a hot meal on a Sunday. And so a group of downtown churches got together and said, that just doesn't seem right. The churches need to be doing something to help people on a Sunday. And so they had a big meeting and they said, we should be doing some sort of meal. And of course, we didn't want to participate because we didn't want those sort of people in the building. And so we came late to the party at Hennepin, but we joined a consortium of other churches downtown. And then because we were last, we got the first and the fifth Sundays. So on the first and fifth Sundays, we serve a hot meal. And the other 3 churches serve on the other Sundays.
And we've done so without pause. It doesn't matter if it's Easter. It doesn't matter if it's New Year's Eve. We've not always been in this building. We left when we remodeled the kitchen, and then we left for a couple of years during COVID. We served to-go meals, and we're delighted to be back serving table service. This is not necessarily a feeding ministry. This is a ministry of welcome. And we are here to welcome our neighbors, and we are here to show God's love to them, that they are beloved children and we're just absolutely delighted that they're here.
And we usually have some sort of entertainment, like a piano player, or we've had bands or other things. Because even if we just play a CD, it creates a nice spirit in the dining room if there's some music, and it creates that spirit of welcome. That this isn't just a soup line or some sort of soulless exercise in hunger. It really is about being welcoming to our guests.
We've got a great crew. Average numbers since COVID, things kind of shifted in the whole landscape. So we probably see 70 to 90 people right now. You can have as many servings as you would like. And since COVID, we are also offering to-go meals. So we probably do 150, 175 meals total every Sunday. We've also developed a partnership with the Groveland Food Shelf. And so Brian and I stop every morning, or other volunteers, whoever we can take with us, and we go down Groveland, and the Food Shelf gives us fresh fruits and vegetables, breads and pastries.
We have eggs today.
Today we have eggs. So they are very generous in also wishing to welcome and support our neighbors and guests.
That's a good point, because in addition to offering a meal restaurant style, we also have a giveaway shelf. That's the way we style it. And it's an opportunity for us to give away a range of other things that our guests might find useful. The food shelf helps us with a lot of food items, but we also give away toiletries. We've given away socks and underwear. In cold weather, we sometimes give away coats or other things that are available.
Scarves, gloves.
That's right. And that was a ministry that developed just by a volunteer who saw a need, and he would bring in like 6 pairs of socks that he bought or acquired himself. And it turned into a whole chunk of our ministry now, where we have a really nice variety of offerings just to help people through.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In addition to the food and the other things that we offer, just the fact that there's a safe space where they can come, even when they're having that kind of day, and be safe and welcome and feel the love that we're trying to share.
And we've had lots of middle school volunteers. Well, we take kids of all ages. You could be 2, or you could be in your mom's arms, your dad's arms, I don't care. But we've had a lot of middle school and high school kids volunteer. Sometimes the high school kids are doing community service, and they stay with us. They stay with us then for years, long after they don't need to be here, because it is such a wonderful ministry, and they really enjoy getting to know guests, and they enjoy the work of welcome. And it's really pretty terrific. Got a number of them washing dishes right now for church brunch.
That's right.
That's right. So that's pretty cool. In addition to a Hennepin ministry, a lot of our volunteers are not Hennepin members. They come from the community. Either they live in the neighborhood, or they've heard about us from friends. So we have a mix of folks who come and serve, who are interested in sharing this message of welcome and love.
You know, the next program we're going to hear about is the Refugee Resettlement Program.
That sounds like a wonderful program.
It really is. I've been involved a long time, and so
Yeah.
I may just share it with you.
All right.
Hennepin Church has been involved in refugee settlement for more than 25 years. And I myself have been involved a lot of that time, not 100%. Back in 2016, Hennepin Church welcomed a refugee family from Eritrea. There was a mom and 5 kids. And I want to ask Fabian, do you remember the night that you came and what it was like?
I do. It was in November 21st in 2016, and when we got to Minnesota, and it was pretty cold, but you guys were there waiting for us, and you had like jackets, hats, and
right, and a big sign. Do you remember the big sign?
Yeah, the one that says "Welcome to Minnesota."
Right,
the family, the Hans family. That's what it was saying. And we arrived, and you guys and our friends, them and his family, took us to the house, their house.
Yeah, what I remember, the 2 or 3 weeks before you arrived, we were scrambling really hard to try to find a good apartment or house for such a big family. And we just couldn't find a good one, so we had to select one that really wasn't that great. But we did provide you with all the furniture and household goods, kitchen supplies, bathroom stuff,
Yeah.
and took you to get clothing that was appropriate for the winter.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the Steeple People clothing shopping trip. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember when we went to the store and we picked up so many clothes. And I still have those clothes, and they're special clothes.
What we were supposed to do is furnish the house, take them to Social Security, enroll the kids in school, show them around the community, and befriend them. But the befriending has turned into 7 years.
Lee Carson, your husband, he taught me how to drive, and he was patient with me. And I thought that to show him that I actually got good at it, I thought it was only by speeding up. So I would speed up, and he would tell me, "Slow down, girl. You have a long way to go." So I remember those moments, and it kind of helped me connect with Lee, with you. That he's like a grandpa to me now.
The other thing that I think I wanted to say is that Hennepin Church gave each of the girls scholarships a couple of times when they were in college.
Yes. It was really hard to work and go to school at the same time. So
But you did it.
I did it, yeah.
Yeah, she worked full-time and went to school full-time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these wonderful kids, all 5 of them are so bright. The youngest one now is a senior in high school, and he will be going to college in the fall.
Yeah.
Faven and her sister have both graduated from college. Faven's a registered nurse, and her sister is a registered respiratory therapist. And then the next brother, Abel, is at the University of Minnesota. He's a junior in engineering. And I said the youngest one, and the other boy hopefully will decide to go to school soon.
Yeah, that's great. It's beautiful that Hennepin Methodist Church kind of depicted God's work, which is God is love, and we should love with each other regardless of our race. So I'm glad for Hennepin Methodist Church spreading love and treating, whether you're black or white, treating you equally. So,
well, and I'm happy that I'm in relationship with you. It'll go on as I watch you and your family grow and change.
yeah.
Well, it looks like you created yourself a brand new family.
Yeah, really. I mean, having Faden as sort of like a surrogate granddaughter is very much a blessing.
Yep.
What we're going to focus on next, though, is 2 new international partnerships that we have. One, a small town in Sierra Leone, which we are supporting a school. And then the other one is a program called Common Hope, which is more comprehensive. It's partnering with an organization called Common Hope.
And that's where?
In Guatemala.
Okay.
But you know, David, you must remember, Hennepin Church has had lots of international partnerships, and we couldn't talk about all of them, but we've had one in India and Russia and then Haiti, which I know you've been to.
I've been to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, working with St. Martin Church, and that was a wonderful experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is the current one, so let's watch those.
Watch that.
Well, you know, Hennepin Church got involved with the ministry in Sierra Leone, in Baiwala, the name of the town, with Pastor Judy Zabel started in Hennepin Church. And her husband was in charge of OC Ministries, which is sort of the umbrella organization that manages outreach ministries in 4 countries. So I went on a mission trip in December of 2017. Never heard of the word Biwala before, but a woman by the name of Pastor Judith Gaima, who used to be called Banya, was back in Biwala, her native town. And when we were there, we asked her, "What do you need in terms of this ministry?" Well, she had been involved in the first 5 years of her being back in Biwala in setting up a food program in the elementary school. But somebody had donated a whole bunch of money to build a secondary school, which was under construction at the time, and it was due to open up in 2019. So Judith said, well, the most important thing is to sponsor kids to go to school. So Hennepin Church started in 2018 as sponsoring individual children to go to various public schools in the area. The other schools in Sierra Leone were poorly equipped, and the teachers were poorly trained, and the buildings were really shabby. In 2019, the secondary school in Biwala was completed, and the school needed funding. And so we shifted the funding to sponsoring kids to go to the secondary school in Biwala. And the project was every summer we would raise money to ask individuals to pay for a child's school fees and also food to have lunch at school. And we wanted this school to be a model to make it quite different. So what did that mean? Well, it meant we wanted to have the best trained teachers we could get. We wanted to make sure that the building was kept up and was neat and clean. And the third thing we wanted to have was materials and a library. One of the things that they wanted so badly was to have a computer room, and we were able to put in a computer room with 30 computers, 30 computer stations actually, and also we bought what's called a Rachel server. It's kind of like the internet, but not really. And it was downloaded all these teaching materials that the teachers could access and the children could access that were really incredible. And this year, it is the 7th year. And the budget has grown from about $50,000 to now $200,000. There are now, at the first year, there was 124 students, and now there are close to 500 students. And there is both an elementary school and a secondary school. Just this past June, 17 kids have graduated from the Ormsby School in Biwala, and that is phenomenal. And why is it phenomenal? It's because this is a backwater rural area where people live on $720 a year, and they're mostly subsistence farmers. One of the things that I have to say about the Biwala ministry is that I would call it a Matthew 25 experience. That's the part of the Bible that talks about helping people on the margins of society, and that certainly is what we're doing in Biwala. What we are doing in particular is that we are giving this child, this family, this community a chance at having a different kind of life. Why? Because they are attending an excellent school with well-trained teachers, with teaching materials, and with the desire on the part of the staff to switch from lecture-based learning to child-focused learning. There can't be anything more important than giving people hope that they can have a prosperous life.
Common Hope started about 35 years ago in the early 1980s. A fellow from St. Paul, Minnesota, was in Guatemala doing work similar to the Peace Corps with some of the folks down in Guatemala and saw the incredible poverty and needs in the Guatemalan population, particularly the indigenous folks in Guatemala. Most of the work with Common Hope is with the indigenous
population, population that typically had very little education and lived on subsistence farms or very, very low-paying jobs, hence the poverty. The whole point of Common Hope is to give people hope through one thing, education. To educate these young people who otherwise would be working in fields or leaving school very early, earlier even than 12, so that they can work to support their families. Common Hope wants to support those children to stay in school so that they can get a high school diploma and get a good job so that they can stay in Guatemala, their beautiful country, and help their own country deal with some of the issues by becoming teachers and lawyers, nurses, doctors, social workers. About 7 years ago, my daughter-in-law came to church and started talking about Common Hope. She gave some presentations, and before you know it, Hennepin was very excited about getting involved in this program with the primary goal of education. Since then, we've had at least 2 sponsor students every year, and then we're trying every other year to take a group of people, whether it's the young people or intergenerational folks, for a week-long trip down to Guatemala to stay in Antigua, Guatemala, a beautiful old colonial city. They have a retreat house there with on-site educational facilities, daycare. They have dental and medical facilities. Because what the folks at Common Hope found was you can't just offer education. You have to wrap services around these families. One of the Common Hope position is we've got to make sure these kids are being fed, have good medicine, dental work, and a house. Now, given most of these young kids in the program come from houses without running water, without plumbing, without electricity. So if you can even imagine. So our Vision troops, from day one they get there to the week later, they build a house, a house for a Guatemalan family.
Every day we had our morning job and then our afternoon job. So we would wake up, we'd have breakfast, and then we kind of all gather as a group to split off into our teams to go to our morning job. And you might be doing construction, or you might be doing maintenance around the Common Hope facility, because they have people come in for services there. So, you might be like painting a room, but a lot of people were doing like construction, building panels for the house. And then some people went on social work visits. We really kind of divided up into teams. That was how we spent most of our time. We'd come back to the facility, have lunch, and then you'd go do a different job in the afternoon.
We completed a house from ground up, from pouring the concrete to putting on the roof and the gutters. So that was something that everyone had a hand in doing throughout the week, and that was for a Common Hope family. Both their older son and their younger son would each have a room to themselves instead of all 4 in the family being sharing one small space. The program itself was very well organized because, as Brenna said, we were divided into teams, and we were always kept busy doing something that seemed purposeful. We were either helping on site, getting ready for the next school year. We were helping develop certain supplies and organizing supplies for students that come and visit the Common Hope on site.
We'd all get together at the end of the day because we all lived in the same area, even though we were divided up into teams during the day. And we'd all sit together and we'd kind of reflect on our day and what we'd learned and what we'd seen. And it was really, really cool. It was very well run.
One of our students that we sponsor, Anna, she's 8 years old, and she lives in a village about 2 hours outside of Antigua into the mountains, where there are only dirt roads, cement block housing. Some have roofs, some do not. Most have no, again, electricity, plumbing, running water. And the situation with Anna was her mother works growing vegetables, takes them to market, and she and her other siblings oftentimes go with their mother, who sometimes leaves as early as 1 or 2 in the morning to go to market. And so all of the siblings in this family have been helped by Common Hope to stay in school. And then here's Josue. Josue's 16, and he is at an age when many young men have already dropped out. A lot of the crime, violence is because so many of the young people, the young men particularly, either get involved with the gangs or there's terrible cartels and violence going on in Guatemala. And it's so important to keep these young men in school. And so if you can get a young man who's 12 or 13 and Common Hope can sponsor that person to stay through high school, it means so much. So the nice thing about Common Hope and Hennepin's sponsorship is we have, again, 2 young people where we are providing services for these young people and their families to allow them to stay in school so they don't have to quit school to go to work.
So I got to visit the little girl Hennepin sponsors, Anna. She is 8. She was 3rd grade, I believe. And it was really, really cool to get to meet her. She was very excited to meet her sponsors because that's not something that some students get that, but not everyone does. And, that's kind of a big deal. And her family was very, very kind and very welcoming. And that was a very cool experience. I actually have a girl I go to school with who is going on a mission trip to Guatemala with her church. But we talked about it because she was hesitant to go. And so I talked to her about it, and I was, I told her, I had just done this, and I just kind of told her it's a really, really eye-opening experience. You meet really very cool people. You see a lot of things that you don't see here, and it's informative. You feel like you're helping, and it's definitely very worthwhile and definitely something I would recommend. So she's a lot more excited to go, and that makes me happy.
The way Hennepin can help is 2 ways. Sponsor a child. For example, I sponsor another family in Guatemala through Common Hope. So individual sponsors are very important, but church sponsorships are helpful. Some schools are sponsoring 1 or 2 students, and then some of the Spanish immersion schools, they go down there. It's just a wonderful way to get involved with another country, the beauty of Guatemala, and try to help the folks so that they can get a good education.
Well, here at home, we have an ongoing program which is working with access to disability. We need to have that, and there's a group that's been working on that. So
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about them, but I know that they're trying to raise awareness about disabilities and make the church a lot more accessible.
indeed.
Okay, so let's watch it.
The Disability Action Team is new. It was formed almost 2 years ago, 2 years this August. We started meeting, it started during the pandemic when Hennepin members met online for the first time. All of our programs were online, and we had a morning coffee group with our senior pastor. And we discussed a wide range of topics. And I, as a disabled person who hadn't been able to physically come to church, started to interact a lot more with Hennepin members over Zoom and get to know people again. And Ryan, you were there, as was your wife, Krista, and Callie Dunoff. And we, the 4 of us, ended up meeting in person after some of the restrictions were listed for the first time in 2022. And out of that meeting grew the Disability Action Team.
In that time, we have convened virtually almost every month, sometimes twice a month. We have been able to achieve accessible seating for people with disabilities and people who use wheelchairs in the primary seating area for worship services in the sanctuary. We also are working towards improving access to through the entire church space and working on signage details so that they might be interpretable by individuals with all abilities, including those who are blind and visually impaired. We also have moved to accessible bulletins for worship services, which are interpretable on screen reader software and braille display. We have implemented subtitles for worship services for various moments during service. I think what remains to be done is furthering the mission of the DAT, specifically towards making the church space fully accessible, improving access from the sanctuary into the Carlson reception area, further enhancing signage and building access. The east entryway needs work in terms of the timing of the automatic closure of that door for the individuals who utilize the push button. It would also be good, really nice, if we could move towards a supplemental church service, particularly in terms of those who may have sensory-based disabilities or sensory sensitivities, who might appreciate a more quiet service. And these are issues that are very important for the disability community, and which we look forward to working with church leaders and lay leaders at Hennepin to achieve.
That's a great summary, Ryan. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that the Disability Action Team and the trustees have been working together these 2 years in a very cooperative way. And there are still some architectural changes that would be good to make, including updating some of our restrooms. And we've done presentations for them, and they're very committed to this work. We've also done things to raise awareness. We have new books on disability in the library, and we've got a lot of handouts and information. And what's very interesting is that we're working to include people of a great variety of disabilities, and that would include neurodivergent folks who might have different interests in like a worship style than we currently have. And so we're representing a broad range of people with disabilities, because within the group we have a wide range of people with disabilities. And so I think there is a lot of work that still needs to be done, but we have made great progress to this point. And this is the new way of church. The new way of church is different than what it was 150 years ago. And we have these new tools and technologies that will help us create community, spread the word, give people the gospel, and create a better life for people with disabilities when they can actively participate in the church of their choice.
You know, Hennepin Church, through its 150 years, has always been on the cutting edge of social justice. And, you know, in the very early part of Hennepin Church, they were responsible for starting 2 of our major hospitals, Abbott Northwestern and Methodist Hospital.
Okay.
And they were also, they turned children or mothers who didn't have husbands homes into Walker Methodist Healthcare Center.
Okay.
So now we have another program that is on the cutting edge of social justice called Hope for Creation.
Oh, let's hear about that.
Yeah, let's.
Sandy, I think the Hope for Creation team is just a really awesome opportunity for Hennepin Church in a lot of different ways. Members.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's such a great opportunity to team up with Tim and Garrett to learn about what the current issues are around the environment, as well as to begin thinking about what we as a congregation can do about it.
The classes that we're having now and the way we're able to spend time in discernment and talking about our responsibilities as stewards of creation, and then going into the theology about it, and now we're at the stage where we're going to start talking about what we can actually do about it. Correct. It's just exciting, and it feels like it's a program that isn't just defined by Hennepin Church either. It's meant to be something much bigger with the hub of Garrett here at Hennepin.
Yes, the class has been done in like 3 sessions, and as you mentioned, the first really dealt with what are we up against, what kind of a mess is out there, and with the environment, and kind of how dire the situation is, and it really demands action quickly. And then our second session has been about the theology of how God is nature itself, and how we as Christians are to be helping to take care of the earth and all of the inhabitants of the earth and the soils and everything. And then this third part where we take that and try to figure out how to put it into action, I'm really looking forward to. I hope there's some really, really good initiatives that come out. Things like maybe lobbying our state and national legislators to pass bills that will help move this forward, helping with environmental justice because so many of these problems affect underprivileged people, even here in America, here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and the readings that we've been given to dig into the subject with have just been eye-opening for me in many ways. It's just, at my age, to be able to say that my worldview is changing seems like a little incredible thing, right? and it really has been. Right. It's just been a really good thing for me personally.
Yeah.
And I think a super opportunity for Hennepin in general, in that everyone is welcome to this program.
There's also been talk about what our campus here around Hennepin might become in terms of a sanctuary for people looking for refuge, or a way to learn about how we should be living with nature.
Right, a welcoming environment for all peoples in a sustainable manner.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
I think there's a really good opportunity for Hennepin to also think about its physical plant, the building itself.
Yes.
It's a big old building with a lot of history in it, to be sure, but some of the mechanicals involved in the interior could use some updating, and there's maybe some ways that we can think about how we can make ourselves more efficient and more sustainable that way too.
Yeah.
And another aspect of the opportunity we have with Garrett and developing the hub here at Hennepin is that the idea is that Hennepin is kind of like the pilot program for this, and that we're the hub, but there's meant to be spokes coming out of that hub, and that this program is meant to be distributed across the Midwest region, and that I think we're going to, with the Lilly Endowment Grant that Garrett got, it's going to help fund some of that work in the next year here, to be certain.
Right.
I think we're looking at 10 additional churches that are
Yes, I think
be
that's
drawn
what-
to the program?
Yeah, I think that's what Tim has spoken about, was engaging some other congregations. And there's many congregations that are doing great things already. So
I think we're in our infancy right now, and the opportunities for growth are immense, both within our congregation and within the community. So we invite you all to join us.
yes.
Well, this is only a smattering of the things that Hennepin Avenue has been involved with and continues to be involved with. There are so many opportunities.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the outreach that Hennepin Church has done, David. I did the research on what was happening between 1870 or 1850 and 1960, and I was just blown away by all the stuff that Hennepin Church was doing. They have always been on the cutting edge of issues. Whatever the issue was, when the war, they supported the war. When it was the issue about women's vote, they supported women voting. And now they're supporting Hope for Creation.
Yeah. Well, I know when I first came here was because of the nativity that drew me in. And when that ended, there was other things that just drew me in.
Right.
So there was, you drew me into Dignity Center, and you've been an instigator in my life, and I appreciate it. Believe me, there's always things to be involved with.
Yeah, well, I think we have tremendous pride in what Hennepin Church is doing, has done in the past, and will do in the future.
Yes.
Now, I think we should listen to our senior pastor, Elizabeth, your colleague, to draw us to an end.
All right.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth McCauley. I'm serving as lead pastor here at Hennepin Avenue United Methodist Church, and what a blessing it is to be an itinerant pastor in the United Methodist tradition, which teaches that the world is our parish, and Hennepin clearly understands that call to ministry and reaches the grace of God beyond certainly our walls and beyond our city and throughout the world. Also, one of the core tenets of United Methodism is there's no such thing as a personal gospel without people being engaged in social justice ministry. And so we pair a deep commitment to learning the ways of Jesus and then living them, which means we cannot do that in isolation, which means we must be attentive to the needs of the world around us and responsive. And we need to realize that we have been blessed with an incredible legacy of people who have been committed to teaching and living the way of Jesus in a way that blesses. And so as you have enjoyed hearing some of the ways that Hennepin has reached out through the years, I want to assure you that we will continue this outreach and this way of being the presence of God, the people of Jesus, in the midst of all of life. So thank you for your consideration and your commitment and your prayers and your belief that we are here in order to bring grace and healing into the world. Thank you.